Some photos seem disturbing from the first glance, while others only become chilling once you uncover the stories behind them. Ordinary moments captured in images once thought happy or mundane now take on a haunting and eerie atmosphere when paired with their tragic backstories. In this video, we'll explore 5 photos with deeply unsettling histories that are sure to send chills down your spine. The Scribbles of Suffering. At first glance, the photograph taken in 1948 by David Seymour appears to depict an innocent child engrossed in drawing on a chalkboard. The child, named Teresca, seems to be engaged in a typical activity for her age. However, this seemingly simple image holds a profoundly tragic narrative that is far from ordinary. Teresca was a 7-year-old girl who had been profoundly affected by the ravages of World War II. She was living in a facility designed to care for children who had suffered significant trauma due to the conflict. The photograph captures a moment of psychological vulnerability and speaks volumes about her inner turmoil. On that particular day, the children were given a task to draw their idea of home. For many of Teresca's peers, this was an opportunity to depict a sense of safety and comfort, illustrated through drawings of houses complete with doors, windows, and familiar features. However, Teresca's drawing starkly contrasts with these depictions. Her artwork consists of chaotic, erratic lines that seem to swirl and tangle, reflecting a mind disturbed by the violent chaos she had experienced. The scribbles on her chalkboard are not just random patterns, but rather a visual representation of the disarray and destruction she had witnessed. Her home had been obliterated, and her family was torn apart by the violence of war. The photograph of Teresca, coupled with her drawing, encapsulates the profound emotional scars left by conflict. Her expression, a mixture of sadness, confusion, and resignation, amplifies the chilling effect of her artwork, making the image a powerful testimony to the enduring impact of trauma on young minds. The Class of Tragedy, 1999. The school photo from 1999 initially appears as a standard high school class portrait, capturing a moment of youthful camaraderie and innocence. However, a closer inspection reveals 2 students, Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold, positioned in the far left corner, striking a pose that would later take on a sinister and ominous meaning. In the photograph, Harris and Klebold are seen pretending to aim guns at the camera, their expressions filled with a disturbing blend of mock aggression and defiance. This seemingly playful act would later be revealed as a chilling prelude to their real intentions. Just weeks after this picture was taken, Harris and Klebold executed one of the most harrowing school shootings in American history at Columbine High School. On April 20th, 1999, Harris and Klebold killed 12 students and 1 teacher before turning their weapons on themselves, leaving a community and a nation in shock. The photograph, with its eerie premonition, has since become a haunting symbol of the tragedy that followed. It serves as a chilling reminder of how seemingly innocuous moments can, in hindsight, be laden with foreboding and despair. Rodney Alcala, the dating game killer. This unsettling image captures serial killer Rodney Alcala in the midst of a courtroom spectacle where he bizarrely takes on the roles of both attorney and witness. The photograph highlights the disturbing duality of Alcala's public persona versus his true malevolent nature. Alcala, known infamously as the dating game killer, gained notoriety for his appearance on the television show The Dating Game while he was actively committing heinous crimes. Despite his charming demeanor on the show, Alcala's true identity as a cold-blooded murderer was far removed from his public facade. The contrast between his charismatic appearance on TV and his actual criminal activities is profoundly unsettling. Throughout his trial, Alcala's manipulative behavior was evident as he exploited the legal system to his advantage, playing both sides of the courtroom. Convicted of multiple murders, Alcala's trial revealed a deeply disturbed individual whose crimes were far more extensive than initially believed. Though he was convicted for several murders, many suspect that his true number of victims is much higher. Alcala spent decades on death row but passed away in prison without fully atoning for his crimes, leaving many questions unanswered about the full extent of his brutality. Post-mortem portraits, a haunting memory. This 19th century photograph captures a seemingly ordinary portrait of a couple, but a deeper examination reveals a haunting truth. The woman in the image, Emily, had passed away just hours before the photograph was taken. During the Victorian era, post-mortem photography was a practice used by grieving families to preserve the memory of their deceased loved ones. In the photograph, Emily's lifeless body is posed upright beside her husband, with her eyes artificially opened to simulate life. This macabre practice was intended to provide families with a tangible memory of their loved ones and was a common part of mourning culture during that time. To modern sensibilities, such images may seem morbid and unsettling, but they reflect the ways in which grief and remembrance were intertwined in historical contexts. The photograph of Emily serves as a stark reminder of the cultural and emotional practices of the past, illustrating how societies have historically grappled with death and loss in profoundly different ways. The chilling smile of convicted killers. At first glance, this photograph appears to capture two men enjoying a casual moment of laughter. However, the context behind the image reveals a far darker reality. The men in the photograph, Richard Hickok and Perry Smith, had just been sentenced to death for the brutal murders of the Clutter family in Kansas. The Clutter family, consisting of 4 members, was ruthlessly murdered by Hickok and Smith during a robbery that went tragically wrong. The photograph taken after their sentencing shows the two men smiling and laughing, an unsettling display of indifference in the face of their heinous crimes. Hickok and Smith's story later became the subject of Truman Capote's seminal true crime book In Cold Blood. The image of the two men with their chillingly casual demeanor remains a stark and disturbing reminder of the dark and often incomprehensible nature of human cruelty. The photograph captures the unsettling juxtaposition of their outward appearances with the monstrous acts they committed, making it a haunting testament to the darker aspects of human nature.